And then fog, flake over grind is a technique that I do. And flake over grind is, of course, the acronym is fog. The Egyptians were doing fog pre-dynastic, and which is before the pyramids and after the pyramids.
I haven't done any of them yet.
So I'm pushing to just make a better piece all the time. I'm just never satisfied with that. So, and I have friends all over the country that are some of the best front nappers in the world, and so they're good friends of mine. So you got friends like that, they're gonna just being friends with and pushing.
All the way, baby, get up. No, don't just stay down and lift yourself up. Baby, baby, get up. So baby, get up. Don't just stay down. Yeah. Baby, get up.
So there's two techniques in foot napping. Actually, in percussion, you have abo, which is abo original, which the Indians were doing with regular native tools or non-new technology stuff, which is deer antler stones for percussion work and deer antler for pressure plate. Then you have general percussion, where they're using the newest technology, which is copper boppers, steel copper, aluminum, and copper pressure flakers and that kind of stuff. And that's percussion. And then you have indirect percussion, where you are using a tool that's strapped onto your leg, and you're holding the piece in your hand that's strapped in your hip. So that's also percussion, but it's indirect percussion. So whenever you lose your hand-eye coordination, you can strike the stone, and you can go to that, and you can be more precise in that whack where you're putting it on, you're not just swinging to it.
I got you. That makes
So it allows them to keep on going, and then also in indirect percussion, the percussion guys that are using the new technology are using indirect percussion on their final work for their edge work, and their edge work now is much better, thinner, cleaner, and very sharp. That's what I know about percussion, and of course from Texas. Flake over grind is a technique that I do. Fog is used with modern tools, lapidary equipment, saws that range from anywhere from 10, 12 inches to 36 inches. Lapidary equipment, grinders, flat grinders, wheel grinders, vertical grinders, and the vertical grinder is a glass grinder. It's not a lapidary tool. It's used for glass work, like church glass. But there's a flint napper back in 15, 20 years ago, Chinbone 5000. So Chinbone 5000 learned how to make an arrowhead from that grinding. So the vertical grinder is a square box, got a vertical drill bit, which is either 3/4 or 1 inch, and you can actually grind on the side of a small preform and grind that down. And so they did find Georgian knives in the pyramids. They found them broken, so they're thinking they were ceremonial. I'm not sure. And then so before pre-dynastic, when they found, I'm not sure they found them whole, but they do have some in the country that they bought way back in the early 30s, 40s, when they were selling artifacts, Egyptian artifacts on the streets in Cairo, which that has stopped, but the only way you can, the reason we know that's fog is because the only way you can get those flake patterns, and if you look at a Georgian knife, is they had to grind on the stone. And we grind on the stone. And that started here in the 50s by some guys up in the Northwest somewhere. I'm sure some don't know the full story, but I'm thinking that they were, and I think that there was a place called Richardson Ranch, which is still selling rock. It's up in Oregon, I believe, or somewhere up there. There were some guys doing lapidary work, and there was some flint knappers combined, and one of them started grinding on a rock, on a point or whatever, and that's kind of what I heard is how that started. So in fog, we're doing everything in slabs.
You're cutting away, obviously, making a knife. You're going to be...
Yeah, so they call that the hair knife. So trim saw is what we use to cut their shapes out. And the trim saw is they like to always start with a diamond blade. They're that's kind of falling off like that.
Yeah.
And so we can cut this shape and all this in here. Here, we are limited to what we can cut, and then we get the rest of this curvature through the grinder that's behind them, and that's how we shape that.
Yeah.
So the thing about fog is, once you prep it, you only got one shot at it, and if you don't get it right, well, it winds up being trash.
Right.
So in fog, we only do pressure flaking. So this is a 3/4 pressure flaker. The different, it's all copper on the end. And this is a pressure flaker I use. In my technique, I do pre-flake, where I pre-flake this and I pre-flake and grind, and I start bringing my platform down. And then we use diamond abraders to abrade and clean our platform. So before we actually are about to flake, and so there was a guy once that said, because my flaking was perfect, he said, "How'd you laser those flake patterns in?"
Right.
And I go, "No, but I'll start at the tip, and I always start before the tip, and I'll work my way all the way down. And then when I do the other side, then I do the top of the tip to knock that little piece out. And then my consistency is in separation and depth. So whatever this separation is, whatever the distance is of the gap of the flake, is I have to do the same here, or it's not going to match up. So I just look at it and I take off, and that's where that comes, where that either matches up or it's just a little bit off. It's just how it works. But with consistency, that's, I probably flaked 1 million flakes,
Yeah.
So it's just doing it over and over and just being very consistent. But the whole thing, when you do this last part, is you have to be very disciplined when you get ready to do this aspect of it, because you can't be upset. You gotta have a clear mind, because there's a lot of focus. And actually, when we get done, we sort of wore out from just staying focused. So we gotta make sure we only got one shot. And for me, I do this big stuff. This is small, and most guys do very hits that are that big. There's a short that focus on that is. For the discipline is the same, but it's just shorter.
Right.
For me, it's not. It's longer.
Right. Well, any final thoughts?
What I've described is my experiences with fog. I'm sure other people will have different experiences. Our techniques are all different with fog nappers. We all go about it a different way. We wind up with almost the same product.
So as far as the Flint Knapping Society in general is concerned, it's something that, say for instance, in this area you'd like to build. What would be some things that you could say to grow your organization or pass on the word?
Yes, well, historically in Texas, or historically across the country, it's mostly been percussion nappers. Really didn't see very many fog nappers at the Knap-In. If you did, they just brought this. You didn't see very many of them, so they weren't there. So those guys kind of stayed at home. There was one fog napper, a famous fog napper named Jim Hopper, and he did make a point like this, and he would flake them out at the Knap-Ins. What I'm trying to do in Texas is change Flint Knapping, and that's why I have all this equipment. All the equipment you see behind us, what I have in my shop. So I practically bring my whole shop here. So I'm an ambassador in the brotherhood of Flint Nappers, and especially with fog, to show and have this here for guys that want to learn, that want to go from slabs into pre-fog into fog, and so they can see it. Half the time I don't do much work. I'm answering questions. I'm showing the guys what to do, and I teach. I also teach around the country. But the Knap-In here is called the Heart of Texas, and we have it in the fall and the spring. And we have a barn here where we can hold at least or over 100 nappers. We've gotten it up to 50, and if we time it right, if we don't set the date where there's a hunting season like we did this time, because we got the mind, we'll generally get a good response. So, but I encourage guys, we do get guys from around the country, and we really do appreciate that they travel that far. This time around, we've got guys from Louisiana. We got some people from Albuquerque and then all around Texas. But we do not have a website, but You can contact me, Ben Rivera, at brivera7@me.com.
Leaving this place, the sun's about to break. You're riding shotgun. The feeling we chase, I'm wide awake. Take me away now. 'Cause I won't go down the same old path again now. No, I've been running out of air, so let me catch my breath. Feeling I've got's making me crazy. If I'm having a good time, don't you blame me. Yeah, this feeling I've got's making me crazy, making me crazy. So I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna drive.
You're all the best, always.
Wanna come down to the underground old school? There's a shovel, can you dig it, fool? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
They were finding Gursian knives.
Pardon me just a second. My apologies.
Thank you, guys.
So just start with logging.
It's quite a bit of a difference.
Knock the shit out of it, Jimmy.